Hey, how's it going? This is Sean McCorkle, and today I'm going to continue with the recovery curriculum. This is foundation lesson number 7, and this lesson, it's about accountability. It's about perseverance. About staying free, walking in the new life. Okay, so here are some things that we're gonna learn today. Uh, that recovery doesn't end with getting clean, but it begins with staying free. Okay? Next, we're going to understand why accountability is not control, but it's God's protection. Next, we're going to recognize how isolation and secrecy and pride slowly leads back to relapse. Next, we're going to learn the importance of perseverance when emotions change or life gets hard. Okay? Next, identifying early warning signs that appear before a fall happens. Okay? And see how daily obedience and structure guards long-term recovery. And last but not least, understanding how God uses recovery process to build character and maturity. So are you ready to get into this? If you think this is worth giving your time, stay. Please please leave a comment. Comment on every good part that interests you. If you got questions, leave a comment and I'll respond back. All right, here we go. Many people enter recovery believing that once the substance is gone, the problem is solved. That's not true. That's why God's trying to change us. I had a problem way before I had a substance problem. As a matter of fact, my character, my way of thinking, because God and church leaders, counselors, they have to deal with the makeup of who you are. And what I mean by the makeup of who you are, I'm not talking about Vidal, Salon, and nothing like that, Avon. I'm talking about mama wounds, daddy wounds, wounds that happened in a marriage, in your adolescent years, something happened with your babysitter, in school, trauma in school, church hurt, or work-related situations. I know a man that was an empty nester, and wind up getting into drugs recreationally, and at an older age, and now doing something for God. But people believe entering recovery, and once they stop using the substance, that the problem is solved. But we got to understand this, that recovery teaches that freedom must be maintained. Freedom must be maintained. This ain't on autopilot. This is intentional, okay? Every day, from decision to decision, from left to right footsteps, getting clean is a moment, right? Getting clean it's a one moment thing, right? But staying free is a lifestyle, all right? See, in the beginning, everything feels new. That honeymoon stage, everything feels new. There's hope, there's clarity, there's relief, but as time passes, emotions settle. The applause stop, and the encouragement may stop. And then at the same time, pressure increases, routines feel repetitive, right? And this is often when people, become vulnerable. It's that middle stage, where everybody's not watching you, where You know, you're not today's news, thank God, you know, but you kind of want to go somewhere where everybody knows your name. And you got to keep the course. You got to keep the course. And people feel vulnerable, not because they're weak, but because they stop being intentional. You can't stop being intentional. You know you. You know you. Don't play crazy like you don't know you. You making fool everybody else, but you know you can't fool you. You fool you. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. So I said like this, just like in any relationship, you know, you don't want to grow old. Like in the Bible, you know what, the children of Israel, when they was led by Moses, you know, they were seeing miracles, signs, and wonders, but they would murmur and complain. You know, and God would always do a miracle, but they would murmur and complain. You know what? And we can be like that too, because the miracles of God can keep coming. Like, I don't thank God, it ain't coming to me to see someone off drugs and a brand new born again baby child of God with new life out the spiritual womb. You know, it shouldn't get coming to us, and it shouldn't be minimized as well. You know, you should keep practicing what you ought to practice, you know, to maintain this new lifestyle with Jesus. You know, in fact, we should be growing. Like I said like this, you know, I've been sober 12 years, going on 13 come November 2026. That don't mean I pray less. That don't mean that I read less. That don't mean that I stop spending less time with God. No, I know how much more I need him. You understand what I'm saying? I know I need him like the air that I breathe. And a lot of times I seen this. I seen people actually, you know what, they go to court and they get on probation, they get on parole and all this and that and the other. And some people be fearful that they can't finish, you know, they term, they can't do their probation. And in my mind, like, I mean, why not? Because you're living for God, you know, it kind of takes care of itself. You ain't gonna be stealing, you ain't gonna be killing, you ain't gonna be doing this, you ain't gonna be doing that, you ain't gonna be getting high. So what's the worry? Why is the, you know, when you living for God, that's gonna take care of some behavior hiccups we have, you know, if we going after them. I mean, this ain't, you know, a checklist, you know, this is a relationship that we gotta continue to maintain with Jesus, okay? I ain't trying to stay off drugs, I'm trying to live for Jesus. And as I live for Jesus, I stay off drugs. I stay away from them things. All right, now I want to talk about accountability. Accountability is one of the most strongest foundations of recovery. Accountability means following other people. It also means allowing other people to speak into your life. You know, and when I mean following other people, community, when I mean fellowship, you know, and it means being honest when you're struggling. Let people speak into your life. Don't have this I know mentality. Don't try to repel people and push people off and go to a dark place. You know, be honest when you're struggling. You know, not just when you're doing well either. You know, many people relapse, not because they want to use again, but because they try to handle things on their own. And this is the thing, we community, we family. Satan wants to isolate you, especially if you make a mistake. He try to put his foot on your neck and try to make you feel shame. Ooh, the devil, let me tell you how you do it. Just get you just one time. One hit. Or sleep with that person just one time, right? And then you do it, you're like, oh, dirty dog. You ain't no Christian. You shouldn't have did that. Why did you do that? You might as well go on. You see, we fall into that trap, and we need to hear the voices of accountability. I stay accountable to my wife. I even be accountable to my son, Not that I go AWOL and fall off the radar at any given moment. Yes, I can, but it's not like on my forefronts. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not on the edge like that. I'm not straddling the fence. I'm not in the yard. I'm in the house. Matter of fact, I might be on the couch or the kitchen, but not on that fence, It's the relationship, I'm learning, matter of fact, I'm learning to be a homebody. I'm learning, because at one point, you can catch me in one place. You wouldn't find me. I was hard to find. Now I ain't. But being accountable. Don't be so prideful you can't tell nobody where you going. And when you coming back, I'm a grown man, it's my business. I'm a grown woman, it's my business. Accountability. Isolation. Isolation is dangerous in recovery. Isolation does not always mean, you being physically alone, but it can mean being emotionally closed off. Some of us are emotionally closed off, but we don't want to open up to nobody. We give surface level responses. We could be spiritually disconnected. We ain't praying, we're oblivious to God, our hearts hardened toward conviction, or we can be mentally drifting. Like this is a song that say your body's hearing me, but your mind's on the other side of town. You're messing me around. We messing Jesus around. When someone stops checking in, stops praying, stops sharing honestly, they begin to disconnect from the very thing that once kept them strong. They drifted, they went distant, they've been listening to that voice, they've been listening to their flesh. And their flesh can get them to a dark place that'll lead them to being in a trap and bondage. And it ain't no one-time decision to get out. Sometimes it can be hard to get out. It might take months to get out, maybe even years. It's spiritual. Or it says like this: sin will keep you longer you want to stay and charge you more than you want to pay. Next, I want to talk about perseverance. Perseverance is learning how to keep moving forward, even when recovery no longer feels exciting. What about when Christianity no longer feels exciting? Because, you can go through some seasons of suffering. You can go through valleys. Sometimes you can be on a mountaintop, You gotta learn how to live with success too. You gotta learn how to live with money in your pocket. You gotta learn how to live when you busted and disgusted, broke, busted and disgusted, and not cause it to, the trigger, you to negative emotions of discouragement to go back. So perseverance is learning how to keep moving forward when recovery no longer feels exciting. Look, it ain't even about feeling excited. You know what? The Bible says, "Hero is a reward of those that diligently seek Him, and that we walk by faith and not by sight." Here it is right here. Some days you won't feel motivated, but you still be a Christian. You still pray. You still love. You still do the right thing. You still stay sober. You still don't go to dark places. You still don't. The Bible say, "Bad company corrupt good morals." You know, there's some places we shouldn't go. We shouldn't go to bars. We shouldn't go to game rooms. We shouldn't go to the trap house. I don't care if it's your cousin. I don't care if it's your family member. They don't mean go. I mean, don't do it. I heard it's like this. If you stay at the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. You don't need one. We're having braids here in a minute. No. But some days you're not going to feel motivated, but you got to have this consistency, even when you're moving forward, nobody's applauding, even when you're suffering, even when you're hurting. Do what the Bible say, endure hardship with me like a good soldier of Jesus Christ. Endure hardship. This ain't for the weak, right? Keep going, even when you don't feel like it. That's where real growth happens. You grow. You don't feel, it ain't when you're all mighty, encouraged, and prayed up when you think you're growing. It's them seasons where it's hard, where them roots grow down. The godly roots grow down in your character, man, to give you some stability, to sustain you, to the degree where you can produce some fruit that will remain. Okay? Here's another point I wanted to share. Relapse rarely happens suddenly. It starts with small compromises. All right, what are these small compromises? Not being punctual, lying, taking pit stops. You know, you probably break your routine. Getting in wrong relationships. The Bible say bad character corrupt good morals. All right, you stop coming around your church group. You stop coming around the group. You know what? You start smoking, vaping, skipping accountability, bending rules, justifying attitudes, revisiting old thinking patterns, these woulda, coulda, shoulda thoughts about our night in sin and pastimes, sexual sins and drug addiction parties. See, these are warning signs. When we start doing that, it's a red flag, because it's bringing you to a place where you're starting to live a double life, you know, and eventually you won't live a double life, you know, because some people fall off the Richter scale, and once these 7 demons come, or they ain't coming back to the family. They ain't being mama or daddy or husband or wife. They're at the trap house, or they wandering the streets, you know. They're in the place right where the demon wants them to be, you know, where their body is a host for that demon, you know. Ain't no sunshine, you know what? Ain't no freedom. It's bondage. You know, you're living to get high, and that demon just got you hostage, you know. Them are early warning signs. You start calling in just a party. This lesson teaches us, you know, to slow down, examine our hearts, and respond early instead of waiting till the damage is done. I'm telling you, abandon the ship. Think about it like this. Don't worry about what other people think. Just worry about you. Like, are you willing to undergo the consequences of the decisions and actions that could probably take place by not walking with God and you fall back in your addiction? When you sacrifice everything, is it worth it? Is it worth going back to prison? Is it worth losing your family? Is it? Some of us, we even had third or fourth, fifth chances with our wives, our husbands. You think they're gonna keep waiting forever? They'll move on. Lord forbid. But they'll move on because they see you don't consider them. You don't consider God or them or your children. I've seen it happen time after time. People I thought would be together, I thought people would be together forever. But they choose sin. They choose their drug of choice. And sometimes it don't really be them that choose it. They just demon possessed. You know, and it just, that demon just run its course until that person died, and that same demon going to somebody else. All right, here's my last point right here, and I'm gonna get into some applications. God uses the structure of recovery, because some of us may need recovery. Some of us may need to go into a program, you know, come into the men's home or the women's home in Fort Worth, or get into some place. You know, if you're from somewhere else, you can, you know, leave a comment, message me, you know, email me, you know, at Sean McCorkle, SHUN, McCorkle, MCCORKLE 1 at gmail.com. Email me, leave a message, and even on the comments, if need be. But God uses structure of recovery to rebuild what addiction damaged. You know, be it our thinking, be it, you know, somewhat of whatever disciplined life we did have, or wish we had, trust and character. You see, rules are not there to punish. They are there to protect our freedom. You see, perseverance through the process produces strength that lasts far beyond the program. Because remember, we're going for the long haul. It's a journey. Like what you're getting now, what you're getting today, it needs to last you. It needs to last you till you die. Because not you'll go early. You'll go before time. So we got a men's home and a women's home. Our men's home is 817-626-1819. Our women's home is 817-378-0921. Okay. All right, here's some application that we need to acquire, you know, on this journey. All right. Stay connected, even when you want to withdraw. Stay connected. Because they may not be your cup of tea, you know, your cup of tea. You know, it don't mean follow the Richter scale. Stay connected, you know. But it's for you to stay free. You don't get to pick and choose who your family is, not even in the kingdom. Here's another one. Be honest before things get out of control. Keep structure. This is part of healing. Keep doing the right thing, even on hard days, even on the rainy days. In Ephesians 6:10-18, it says, when all else, just stand. Don't make no life decisions in moments of temptation. All right, here it is right here. Understand that growth takes time and consistency. And remember, last but not least, remember that freedom is guarded one day at a time. Jesus said like this. I think I'm gonna read it. Let me just go and read it real quick. He said this in Matthew 6. This is the last verse in Matthew chapter 6. It says, "So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will care for itself." It says, "Each day has enough trouble of its own." All right. So I hope this teaching bless you. Stay connected. Your leaders shouldn't have to, chase you down. Your recovery leaders, your spiritual leaders. Even if you ain't on drugs, you just in the church, man. You should devote yourself to your leaders, to the teachings. You got to. If you want to change, you got to devote yourself to the leadership and the teachings. When we're not accountable, when we're not living to Jesus as Lord, then we really don't have no restraints. His words are final authority. We got yield to conviction of the Holy Spirit inside of us. You start growing when you're accountable. You start growing when, you can answer the hard questions and you allow people to ask you the hard questions. And when you get out of isolation and push come to shove, if you can't do it, if you don't believe God give you the grace to do it on your own, well, there are places that can help you. I hope this video bless you. Please leave a comment about what part of this video you liked. If you have any questions, all right, leave it in the comments. Holler at me. Please like, subscribe, and share. God bless.